Hello, Facebook family. It is Joyce Saint-Cyr, your account with diverse community partners.
Do you see the chat? Okay, it's on.
Is the chat there?
It's on here. Let me see.
Okay, let me see something. Let me go to my page to make sure. Today we're going to talk about, are you getting a refund? And I want to bring up one of the questions. Yeah, I see it there. Wait.
Do you see that comment?
No,
No, you didn't see that.
hold on. Naomi's helping with technical issues. One moment. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining.
It's me.
That's what I said. Where's the, how you mute? Okay. Today we're going to talk about, are you getting a refund and what you should be looking for, and does it make sense? So,
Let's go on Facebook there.
I'm right here.
Oh, so you're gonna look at the comments here.
Oh, I have to, that's
Yeah.
what, oh, so I have to see the comments here. Okay. All right, we have some technical issues. Now, I guess Naomi will fix it next go round. So today we are doing something different. Normally we're going live on all three platforms, and we were asked to break out the platform. So come on in. Let me just give people a moment to join. Let me fix this here. Let me bring up, come on in, because today I want to talk about refunds and what does it make sense and why people are not seeing refunds. And let's talk about what's happening, that so many audits are coming up and why. Okay. I want to bring up a question that someone shared on the TikTok live. And I want to kind of give a quick and fast way of, okay. All right, so this looks good. All right. So let me, give me a minute. Come on in. Let's go over a few little things. Today we are talking about getting a refund. Should you be getting a refund? What does that look like? And understanding what you need to do in regards to forecasting for your tax refund or if you're going to owe. So right now, give me a minute. Facebook is a little different than TikTok, that I have to individually invite people to join the live, whereas on TikTok, it comes up on the feed. So we are going to get this party started right. So bear with me. Bear with me while we get this party started right. And I just want to go over some things. You know, people are telling me, why am I not seeing the same type of refund that I received several years ago? It's, number one, a lot of things have changed. and to see. And I want to say thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. And if you have any questions, definitely put it out there in the comment section. Hey, hello, McKinney. How are you? Thank you so much. So before I really start in today's topic, I just want to say like, share, comment, you know, help us come up into the feed. Thank you so much. The new edition. Thank you so much. I'm getting inbox messages as well. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I'm going to say that if you have a comment, similar to TikTok, people were sending me messages in my inbox message, which is great. Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you so much for joining. I'm just going to say that if you could put your comments here, it would kind of help me. So I won't have to go into two different screens because I'm looking at two screens on the computer. So before going into today's topics about a refund, understanding of getting a refund or liability, the first thing I'm going to say while I'm just putting some things together, type in the comment if you are a W-2, put W-2. If you are a business owner, type in B-I-Z. And if you're both, meaning you get a W-2 and you get something from your business, type in both. So today I want to go into a discussion about should you be looking for a refund, if you owe, why, and stuff like that. So if you're W-2 only, type in W-2. If you just have a business and you're not on payroll for your company, just type in biz, B-I-Z. If you get a W-2 and you have your business, type in both. Type in both. And then I'm going to give you some tidbits of some things that you need to think about. If you want, hello, Ms. Calhoun, thank you so much for joining. If you want to join, just let me know. I could bring you on if you have any comments, if you want to say anything. But, definitely. Hey, Vicky, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. So if you have any questions, this is the time because, listen, we all know that when we go to an accounting professional, there's a consulting fee. And this past year, I've seen so much in regards to being misinformed or not doing things properly that I said it's time to come back and get live. Because we know when I first started DCP, almost 10, 11 years ago, that I used to go live twice a week. And right now, I don't have a lot of information. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. So business owner. So if you have a biz, type in B-I-Z. If you get a W-2, type in W-2. If you get both, type in the word both. Yes, absolutely. And with so much out there, there's also so much misinformation going. So I figured that it's time to go back live. Let me dedicate that. So awesome. Thank you, Biz. So Vicky, so it's biz, that means business, no W-2. I know we have some other people. If you're just W-2 or you have a Social Security retirement, put in W-2. If you have both, type in both. Okay. So I want to talk about, sometimes people say refund. And the first thing I want to say is when you go to a professional and you say, how much money are you getting me back? You have now asked for problems. You should run, because that really shouldn't be the question. The question should be, what can you identify opportunities to help me? Okay. So I'm going to go to the simpler route of a W-2, then we're going to go to biz, and then we're going to go both. Okay. And then I'm going to share some things that we have here just so you could look, that you could calculate. Several years back, the government changed how you quote unquote better explanation of putting your exemptions when you get paid on your job. Married 1, married 2, single 1, single 4, and so forth. And people at that time felt like they were getting the right amount of money in their pocket when they get paid, and then they were getting a refund because they had children or so forth, right? But that changed. The government said, hey, They have a new tool on the irs.gov that you're supposed to go on the website, and when you start a new job or you've changed your income, can you identify opportunities to help me? Absolutely. And so we'll get into that of opportunities to help. So we're going to go into the income of the wages and the business, and then we'll go about the opportunities because somebody else had asked me for that as well. And then the government changed the whole structure of how you're supposed to put it. And you're supposed to go to irs.gov and put in what is your projected income with your job, your business, and it will tell you how much money you should be paying. Okay? So when people say that my refund has went down, that's because they never went on the calculator and identified, what they should be claiming as quote unquote exemptions. Okay? So employers back then, when this happened, they were supposed to tell you, hey, go on the website, go calculate it. But it was not the job of the employer to guide you in what you needed to get done. They say go to an accountant and let them help you, right? So like right now, we're doing forecasting to see where people are, where we project they're going to be at the end of the year, and are they going to break even? Now you also have to think about, what is your mindset? Are you the type of person that could put money aside and save to pay taxes at the end of the year? Or are you that person that needs to do it on a quarterly basis? And if you're a W-2, do you need more money in your pocket? But then if you owe, you don't have any money. And then you owe the government a penalty. So at the end of the day, my process is not, thank you so much for joining, Jennifer. Thank you so much. My process overall for anyone is, why pay more into the system than you have to? Okay? I don't like penalties. I don't like interest. I don't like any of that. So my goal is to push you to a place where at least we could break even. Because think about it. The government's holding on to your money, no interest bearing money. You're not getting any growth from your money. But some people can't save or hold their money, so that's the best way to go. Good afternoon. That's the best way to go. So, and we're going to talk about the tax bracket in a minute, right? After that, as a business owner, the goal is that every quarter you should see where you are income-wise, and to see, should you be making quarterly estimate payments based on the income. Now, there's another step, and I'm going to get to there. People who have both, meaning they get a W-2 from a job or their company, and they also have a business, then you need to add those two and to see what tax bracket you fall under. Okay? Now, I am going to give you high level, then we're going to break it down. So basically, there is a tax chart, okay, of the income. And this is before we start going into standard deduction, okay? So again, I'm breaking it out really simple. At the end of the day, if you have, hold on a second, let me just put this for somebody. Hold on, I know we're live, but she's trying to figure out where are we because we split it. Okay. Let's tell her. Sorry. So this high level is when you look to see how much money you're making, okay? It will dictate what do you have to pay into the system, right? So let's say hypothetically, if you made $10,000 of 2023 tax rate, it would be 10%. Now, every year we give these calendars. Yeah, I will. Now, every year we give out a calendar, and every month it has different tax tips, business tips, individual tips, things that you need to know, okay? So, sneak peek, we are already working on our 25 calendar, okay? So, for 24 tax, we're in 24, which would be for 25. The range for 10% is $0 to $11,600, so it went up $600. So if you look at your W-2 today and you made $10,000, you need to do 10,000 times 10%, and technically that's what should have been deducted for federal taxes on your W-2, okay? If it's much less than that, then you need to go and adjust into your payroll system and fix your exemptions, or if you've owed every year, that means you've never fixed the exemptions based upon the change the IRS put in place several years ago, right? Now remember, I said this is basic, step one, because there's a step two. Then when it comes to the state, you would take that same 10,000 and times it by your tax rate of the state and see, did that come out your W-2. Now, as a business owner, same concept. Remember, I said there's another step. So I don't want anyone to say, what about the standard deduction, blah, blah, blah. We didn't get there, okay? If you have a company, the biggest rule, and listen, we see what's happening the past 2 months. The IRS is coming pounding, and they're coming strong. 4 years ago, they told us there was going to be a lot of audits. I kept saying it. I didn't see it. 2025, oh, I'm getting ready. There's going to be some audits. So whether you're a W-2, a business owner, or both, you need to ensure that you have the proper documentation. And people say, oh, I got it. I've been doing it. Nobody said anything to me, so that means it's perfect. Not necessarily so, because the government is 3 years in the rear, okay? And let's think about it. Why they're coming after people with PPP 4 years later? Fraud is unlimited. So if they feel that there's a fraud in reference to the income that you're reporting, then you could be subjected to being audited at any time, okay? So with a business, even though you're supposed to have a balance sheet and an income statement, and people come and tell me, oh, I got all my statements, I got a spreadsheet, that's not it. Or if I may, I know, I don't think that's your issue, but Vicky, I'm just going to use you as an example, if I may. And they'll say, well, I use my POS system. That's not enough either. Or someone said, well, I use my 1099 and my bank statement. That's not enough either, okay? Because that's not what the rule says. So when you're calculating and when you go to someone for them to sit there and help you with your taxes and to see if you're getting a refund or not, they should guide you and say, do you have the proper documentation to support, okay? Now, the key that you come, let's say you make $10,000 in 2024. I'm just going with easy numbers so we could just see it easily. The standard deduction for a single or a married filing separate person is $14,600. What does that mean? The government says up to $14,600, that's your money. We're not going to tax you on that money, okay? We're going to tax you outside of that balance. And so let's say that you made $15,000. You would be taxed at $400. Make sense? Okay. So $400 would be taxed at 10%. And that would be your tax for the year. Really simple, right? Let's say you're married. Then you need to go to your spouse and say, well, how much money you're making, how much money I'm making. Let's put that together and add and say, our married filing joint for 24 is $29,200. So if you made $30,000 collectively, then that means your tax, that $800 is taxed, okay? Let me say one more thing that's fraud that a lot of people do, and we're going to come into the business thing. My pleasure, my pleasure. Very often, you get couples who are married or maybe technically not formally married, and somebody says, I could help you get more money. How? Head of household. So they'll have one person do head of household and one person file as single because they say, you're going to make much money filing the children, okay? So remember when I first started, I said fraud. Technically, that's fraud. Especially, and this is what really drives me crazy when I see this, preparers will tell you to do that and use the same address for both people. That violates the rule of head of household. Head of household means there's no other adult. Can you identify that both of these adults should not be in the house together? And head of household means you're by yourself taking care of these kids and the other parent or person is not really helping. That's how we get to head of household. And this is how we qualify. Now, let's say you have a business and your business loses money. And this is another thing that people go a little crazy for. And your business loses money. And they'll say, why didn't I get the earned income credit? Why didn't I get the tax credit? Because your net income is zero. So how do I give you anything if you didn't make anything, and everything you made, you didn't have to pay? So that was money you kept in your pocket. What do people out there do? They'll make your business, instead of making zero, they'll put that you made $100, which automatically puts you into making the earned income credit refund. And then somebody says, I'm getting $8,000 and so forth. Now, what I'm saying is, if that's it, then that's it. Have the documentation to support. But I'm saying that there are a lot of people out there that are, because you told them how much money you're going to get, they're going to go finagle that number and get you a refund. Now, you might come to me and say, well, Joyce, they did a strategy to help me. Okay, let me just say, especially because we're on Facebook Live, that's fraud. Okay, so technically, that's not the process. Now, it could say, did you miss any income that you didn't give me? Okay. Did you give me too many expenses that wasn't really pertaining to the business? Now we're coming into something a little different. So there should be conversation to make sure, because a lot of times if someone hasn't received guidance and they don't know, they might overgive or undergive information. Makes sense? So when we're looking at to see what is the possible refund or liability, we need to see with the income. So at this point, let me jump on into one topic that was asked for me from last live and this live. And the great thing is that people will be able to look at this live later on. So I do want to address some of the questions. I received from the TikTok live. So we go TikTok live from 12 to 1, and then Facebook from 1:15 to 2:15 on Wednesdays. And we used to be Fridays, but we were asked by a lot of people who coming in and say, I couldn't join on Fridays, don't want to think about anything important on Fridays, you need to switch it. So we switched it. You asked, we heard, we give. Okay? So they were asking about what are the things. So let's go into what is the requirement. So as I stated earlier, because one person said biz, I want to go a little bit more into the biz because people could look at it. The first thing is you have to have the records, right? And each business has a little tweak that needs to be addressed. So Vicky let's see what she said. Let's look at the name of her company. And we'll use her as a sample, if I may, since she made the comment. She said something boutique, right? Okay. Yeah. She said boutique. So we know with boutiques, and if you have a business, type in biz. If you get paid with a W-2, we're talking about should you be getting a refund, then you're going to put W-2. And then if you have both, put both, and then we could address it accordingly. Okay. Now, okay, boutique. So we all know that boutique comes in with certain filing stipulations of sales tax, and to make sure that the reports match, and looking at the cost of purchasing, and depending of things of in transit, when you purchase goods to get them in and so forth, right? Then you could be putting clothes in like samples that you could give to people, or you might do a show and you don't want to reuse it, so you save it as display. So all of these things to come in. Now, what's so interesting about with the boutique, and we have a good sized reseller here as a client that I could tell you, what is the challenge that someone like that could go through? If you get an IRS agent like me, I'm going to want to see how can I confirm all your clothes purchases were for the business and not for personal use. Because how often people want to deduct their clothes, their cleaners, and all of this stuff because they said, with my business, I have to wear these clothes, it's marketing. No, that is not a deduction. Okay? So this is even more so of making sure there's a good trail and separation, because one of the questions for us, and I think a lot of people don't realize there's questions that we have to answer, and it says, did they have a separate business account? Did you see personal transactions going through that business? How do you know that some of the stuff they gave you wasn't personal, right? So, especially when it comes to a boutique and selling clothes, then you want to be able to say, well, you know what? I didn't see anything because I saw bulk purchases. But if someone is buying one off here and there could be a challenge. Now you could be buying samples, but did you buy from that person again? So somebody like me, I'm a digger. If you told me, oh, I was buying samples and I see that you bought from 20 people but never bought from them, then I'll say, so how come you never buy from the samples that you receive? So again, it's all about documentation. But if you have a good ledger, okay, and when someone comes in, you want the key to having good ledgers is that someone puts their finger on one account and doesn't go further and just say, okay, from there, just give me this one item. If you are messy and you don't have things the way they're supposed to be, okay, then that means you are opening the door for potential additional inquiries, right? So you want to make sure you have the proper documentation. Now, one of the things that we see is that allegedly, as I talked about, vendors can be categorized in your POS as well. Yes, absolutely. Depending on how you set it up, because the POS could do your inventory and so forth. You know, some people don't use it all the features. Some people only use it for one. But yes, you could use the POS for everything, but it cannot be, quote unquote, the final report for your financials. Impossible. You can't do it, and you shouldn't do it. It could manage a lot, okay, of syncing it, but you could sync all of this into the POS system, but you need the POS to flow to a financial system, okay? It needs to be going into, a QuickBooks, a Zero, Peachtree, or whatever's out there. Everybody know I don't like QuickBooks. It's too expensive. QuickBooks don't come after me. If it holds you hostage to the accountant, I love Zero. That's what we give our clients. It's $47 with two tools that meet the IRS requirements, right? Yes. So, but they also need something else inside just the syncing, okay? So now you want to make sure that you have a formal accounting system with a balance sheet and an income statement. I see a lot of people that's coming in, like right now we're taking some people and they'll tell me, well, we have this, and we give it to the accountant at the end of the year and he does the taxes. I said, how do we know it's accurate? Okay. Someone sent me and paid me to review the past 5 tax years, and I looked at the financials and I couldn't believe what I saw. And I know who did it because when I looked up the name, I said, oh my God, this is somebody who wanted to work for me at a point of time. And I was like, So when I looked, nothing, 50% didn't match. It didn't make sense. Okay. And they didn't even know about the BOY, which everybody know I've been putting that out a lot. If you didn't see it, go to my TikTok, go to my Facebook page. There's 2 videos there on BOY. These are some of the things that you have to understand to put the category. Now, you talk about what this new administration is talking about, and both gave 2 different perspectives. Absolutely, it syncs with Zero. Absolutely, it syncs, and it is approved by the AICPA. So when you take Zero and you talk to the POS system, you can set it up, and sometimes if they didn't have a direct link, there's a way to download and upload. And you don't need everything in that POS to flow to the accounting system. It's more for operations, so understanding the difference of the operations. And if you want to keep track of inventory for valuations, which is an overkill. If you don't have like millions of dollars in inventory, why, right? Just do it as a write-off and so forth. But then that means at the end of the year, you got to back out the inventory and so forth. And I don't think it's necessary at this level. It depends at, how big is your volume and activity. But you do want it to sync with the POS, with the credit cards and so forth to see as it's coming in that it can match, right? So it's just about setting it up. And that's the biggest thing. So both administrations were talking about different ways to help the small business owners. Now, one of the biggest things that they were talking about was tips, which nobody here is on tips, okay? But they both claim to help with small businesses. Now, let me tell you my opinion though about something. Depending on your C corp, and you got to be at that tax bracket. It got to make sense. People almost automatically say, "Oh, I want to have those tax things," and you're not there yet. You need to be netting like $100,000 of taxable income and more. Other than that, you're not really benefiting from some of these opportunities. You're benefiting from getting the deductions and some of the credits and some of the making sure that you identify the flows. That makes sense, okay? But when it really comes into, think about it, I was showing you with the tax rate. Sneak peek, our 2025 calendar, right? So it's going into here. The minute you pass, let me see what bracket. The minute you pass the 22%, okay, or you're getting close to there, I'm converting you to a C Corp. Because at this time, and I believe this new administration who's coming in is going to help in regards to this, the tax rate for C Corps is 21%. Okay? When you are making 200,000, you're subjected to 24%. Now, actually, it's more, 32%. 32 and 21, big difference of saving that money. So letting the corporation be taxed at that rate and then you be taxed as an individual. So this year we had to convert about 5 of our clients to C Corp. They're doing pretty well, right? And then we convert them to C Corp. And one, we kept it at the same level because of some criteria that they have. But they all get a refund. Why? Because their income, the max I like to put on their W-2 is 100, and I was talking about TikTok. Even my base for W-2 is 100,000, but it depends on your relationship with money, how I advise you, should you increase that or not, okay? But if you want to know what I mean by that, you could tap it in the comment. But the key really is to understand it's where you are financially, tax-wise, as income, and then forecasting. Because the IRS says if you owe 3 years in a row, you have to pay a penalty. Okay? And to me, as I mentioned earlier, I don't like giving away money, wasting money, because if I had did it the first time, and as I shared, I might mix with TikTok, I understand what it means to struggle. I understand to hold a budget. I get it. So people say, well, I have crisis, I have children, I have life, I have all of this. I can't just pay into the system. You're going to pay for it anyway. And I try to break that chain of hold, that bondage of thinking, well, I'll just do a payment plan. It's lost money. So when you tell me you don't have any money and you tell me there's no way, first thing I'm going to show you is how you're wasting it in the first place, paying all these late fees and penalties and interest and so forth, right? So if you have a good plan and someone could shift you into going in a direction of managing your finance, because that's the key. That's the key of having the difference of a tax preparer and an accountant, okay? And, my last live, I told you not all accountants are the same, right? Just because someone says I'm an accountant or a tax preparer, not all accountants are great and not all tax preparers are bad, okay? There's some great tax preparers out there, but there's a difference. You need to know, are you dealing with someone that invests in themselves and their business? Are they still going to training? This week I registered for multiple, hey Heather, how you doing? For multiple trainings. Why? Things are changing. We know when this new administration comes in, buckle up and get ready because we're going to see some changes. As an accountant, this is to show you the nerd in me. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to happen, who's going to shift it to change. And as sad as it is, even to when it came with COVID, and very sorry for all the lives and everything that came out of COVID. But what did it do for us? Made the strongest stand up. It showed you that if you don't have your stuff together and you don't have things set up properly, you were out there, okay? Even if you weren't a registered business, they gave you money. They gave you money. In all the years of me being in accounting, I've never, here's the dirty word, saw free money. First time, see free money. But guess what's happening with that free money today? Those who falsify documents, there were so many people on Facebook that were offering to prepare fraudulent W-2s and other reports so you could qualify, because what they were doing, just like stated loans, they were like, just state the information, give this. They were like, serious checks. And I was sitting there saying, wow, they're just giving the money. They're just giving the money. And I had some people said to me, Joyce, you always want to do everything super right. Well, I want to get this money. I'm going to go over there. And I was like, okay, then go over there, right? Because what they're doing, they're also going after preparers who falsify documents. Look with the ERC. Same thing. Same way when you're running your business or as a W-2. You want to make sure that you have an understanding. I'm not saying for you to be me, because I could do it, but that's not where my strength or my greatness is, selling clothes in a boutique and having that. I owned a cafe and people were coming in, and that's when I knew I am truly an accountant, because I love people. I don't mind interacting with people, but you do not need me in a food industry, service industry in that way. Why? Because people are extra. I had a man drink a whole drink, finish the drink, and told me to give him back his money. I was coming out with some cuss words because I was like, what? So I knew to go back in my lane, be the accountant that I am, and help on this side and help guide. And that's why we do these lives, is really just to help you understand there's a way. Am I able to identify opportunity? Absolutely. I can probe you and find the things that you're missing and put it together. Okay? But I'm also going to tell you what is the rule, what is required. And everyone jokes about me. They're like, her favorite rule, right? It's the rule. What about the rule? And then the other one is, but there's always a but. Okay? Because there's always a but. And that's the joy of business. That's the joy of accounting. That's the joy of growing as an individual, as a professional. So I know a couple of people join. If you're a W-2, type in W-2. If you have a business, type in B-I-Z. If you're both, type in both. But I want to make sure that you understand why you might get a refund, why you might not get a refund, and why do you owe, and what do you need to do. And just think about it. The government says if you are a contractor, you have a business, people tell me I don't have a business, but they have 1099s. That equates to being a business, okay? Because a 1099 means you're a contractor, you were not an employee, you did not pay taxes. That means you need to account for all of your out-of-pocket expenses, okay? That means you need to think about it. Even though it's not into this, but let me share this. Two things, because I shared it before, but maybe not on Facebook. There are two things that I guarantee that you're going to see, they're going to come after people, okay? Because right before COVID, they had changed the rules for meals. And they were going to come after barbers and hairstylists because it was a heavy cash environment. And even with a boutique, let's say, because people are still walking with cash. Most of your sales would be by card. But they better show some cash sales. And sometimes people take the cash sales, stick it in their pocket because they just need it to go buy something, whatever. You need to account for that. Why? Because it's logical. You got to think logical. Even if you took the money to spend, you still need to pick it up and then pick up the expense to offset that it's not there anymore. But if you have a 1099, you are a business. Now, you might not be a registered business with the Secretary of State, but you're still a business. That means you're required to keep track. So they changed the whole rules for meals. So meals went into 4 categories. I get mixed up with the camera where it's located. 4 categories, right? And people go like, what? Yeah. So let me give you a scenario. Let's say I go out with Vicky Love and we just talk about the boutique. We talk about, I was on live and then we had the zero and that was great. And I said, oh my goodness, I love this tool. And Vicky pays, right? So you tell me, is that a deduction? Yes or no? Do you think that's a deduction? Yes or no? Type it in. Let me know. Yes or no. Do you think that we went out, we were talking about business, and, she paid the bill? So Jennifer says yes. Okay. Guess what? Technically, no. Technically, no. Why? The rule says, not because back in the day, if we went out, we say, hey, we talk about business deduction. They changed it into 4 categories. One is, are you having meals with a client or potential client? That's rule 1. Rule 2, are you offering these meals during a training? During a training, employee training, contractor training, okay? Rule 3, the meals will incur with traveling outside of your home base area, travel, okay? Yeah, it changed. Rule 4, special event, okay? So when we do the tax return, we break out those categories because we want the IRS agent to know we know the rules, okay? Right before COVID, this was a big buzz that they're going to come after. And you have to understand, when they make these little changes, these are topics that becomes risk for audit, okay? And if your records don't match the rule, then there's a possibility of being dinged and disallowed, okay? So that's one. The other ding is, let's say you have a business and you're let's say that you have a boutique, okay, and you have like $7,000 of automobile expenses. Let's think about this, right? It's possible. So let me just say this, it's possible. But is this someone selling out in the back of their trunk to have a lot of automobile expense? No. This is someone who has a brick and mortar location. So really, I expect to see rent, utilities, things of that nature. Not as much automobile because they don't really need that car per se for the business. However, they might buy a car and have a personal car on the side to go out and go pick up shipments and go at different places or drop off, and they might do deliveries to customers or whatever the case is, right? So that would come in. Those are the areas, those are the things that you have to think about. Do you have the record? Are they going to come in? If you are a speaker, a coach, a consultant, then the technical answer is you're supposed to keep a log. Now, do you know that one of the areas that they were going to look into come and check right before COVID was the automobile? And you want to know something? Listen to this. If, God forbid, you were to be questioned about your mileage, okay, and you don't have a log, you're going to get dinged. And the thing is, you could say, let me go create it now. You're not allowed. Now, if obviously you went to the meeting and you didn't go with it, then you could say, well, I have to go home and get it, right? But you are not allowed to create it at the time of the inquiry if you don't have it. Technically, you're supposed to have that log ongoing. If you are a CNA, a home health care agency, and you're going from client to client, then you're supposed to have a log book. Did we know that? So it's little things like that we need to think about, which comes back into our main topic of the day is, should you be looking for a refund or are you going to be paying? If you could identify if you're a W-2 or if you're a business that you don't get a W-2, or if you're both, that you are a business and you get a W-2, you need, the takeaway is to know, one, what tax rate category do you fall under? Okay. If you're not an active client, we share our calendars. We do a book every year. We have one in Spanish as well. that has all these good tidbits information. You could request a copy if you're not an active client. We'll send it to you. Of course, our home base is in Charlotte. We have a satellite office in Atlanta, Georgia. We serve clients in multiple states, so that's not an issue. Everything we do is web based. So if you're not sure how to calculate, even though we did the simple step, look at your W 2 gross, times it by whatever rate you're in. So let's say if it was 12% at minimum, because remember the standard deduction, so that's high. And you say, did I pay at least that much in? Then you know you're close to break even. Okay. If it's much lower, then you need to adjust your W 2. If you're a contractor, you're getting a 1099. If you have a business, you really need to look at about right now to see where you are. Okay. To see, hey, at the end of the year, I'm going to owe. And people say, well, I don't have the money. You need to think, if you're a 1099, you're a business owner, and you're not on payroll, you should be putting a little bit of money aside for the end of the year. So if you work with me, this is how I guide my clients and try to help you get into that rhythm of putting a little bit aside instead of going like, oh my God, I owe this much money. And I'm like, but you made the money. What is it? Yeah, it wasn't even enough. I couldn't even pay my bills. It doesn't matter. You made the money. If you went to a job and you made the same money, they would have taken taxes. You would not have gone home with it. So it's a discipline. It's teaching you and helping you with your relationship of money, of understanding why you need to have various buckets, right? And then from there is to know that you want to have proper documentation. Whether you're W-2, whether you're a business owner, whether you're both, you want to have the proper documentation. And then at least you want to have the good support. You want to have someone that you could trust, you respect, that you believe that's going in. You want to ask the questions of why that person, how can they help you? Doing lives like this could allow you to get some insight to say, what is it that you're sharing? Can I understand what they're sharing? Can I follow the sharing? Do I think they can speak to me? Right? And sometimes, I had a client last year and it wasn't a good fit. No matter what I said, how I said it, up, down, she never got it. Okay? And to find out, I was like, okay, this is not a good fit. But, I'll try my best to explain it. And I can explain things in multiple ways. So just think about, don't wait to tax time to go to the tax office, bring your stuff in. You should be having an idea so that when that person brings you back the final product for review, you could say, did it meet my estimate? And let's say if you knew that you were going to owe $1,000 and they bring you a refund of getting $10,000 refund, that might sound good, but you need to say what you put in it. Because I did a forecast. I did a simple step. Joyce with Diverse Community Partners told me step 1, take my gross. Step 2, minus the standard deduction, whatever's left over, tax it, times it by the tax bracket that I'm in, and that's what I should have paid. When I calculated what's on my W-2, I should have gotten a refund of 1. How did you get 10,000? You see? So you want to hold people accountable. You want to make sure that you're going to someone credible. Remember, you're giving these people your identity, your date of birth, your social security number, your banking information. You're giving them everything. You want to make sure that they're safeguarding your information, that it's credible. This is someone who's not jumping from place to place, from this location to this location. And honestly, even though everybody could be a sole prop, you want to make sure they're registered with the Secretary of State. You want to be able to find them if something happens. Because the IRS says ignorance is not a line of defense. So if you can't find them, you're out on your own. And that's why for us, even though we do a great job, we offer our clients Protection Plus. And even if you're working with someone, tell them I want Protection Plus. And if you want to stay with your person and you want that insurance, it's $124.95 and it's valid up to the time that if God forbid you were to be audited, this is a group of accountants that would help you mitigate that audit. So you want to make sure overall that you're getting good guidance, but also you have some insurance protection. If something happened, obviously fraud is not protected, but we're going to believe in our circle that doesn't exist. right? So I hope today's topics help. Definitely like, share, comment. Please share me, Joyce Saint-Cyr, your accountant with diverse community partners. Please look for us on TikTok. We have two different pages. We have the Glam Accountant, and I'm asking you all to be a fan of the Glam Accountant. And then we have the Accountant DCP, which goes only into bookkeeping, tax, and payroll information. We pull our topics based upon the questions that are sent to us. Glam accountants are basically on, unboxing clothes. So, like we said, we have a client that sells some stuff. So, I actually had two pieces of her garments that I was showing, and then we did like with the bracelets and stuff like that. So that's in the Glam accountant, and so we do a lot of unboxing. So we get samples in reference to that, and then of course here in DC on Facebook. So, of course, if you have any questions as we're coming to the end of the year, if you have anything you want to ask me, thank you, Sheila. How are you? Thank you for joining. Definitely inbox me. If it's something that you want us to be on a topic, we go live every other Wednesday. Look out for the flyers. I know on Facebook I posted, but some people say they don't have TikTok. That's why I'm doing the Facebook Live separate from the TikTok Live. But of course, a lot of the videos of both are on TikTok, two different accounts. And then we have someone that's actually going to be doing a landing page, and that will be allowing us to share some of the items that we have. And of course, we have the regular DCP website that talks about the bookkeeping, the taxes, the retirement and understanding. So before I go, I just want to say there is a difference about having a financial planner and an accountant. Let us all stay in our lanes. But it's great to have your accountant talk to your financial advisor. And when I hear people tell me that when they're looking at their refund or whatever, they have those discussions with their financial advisor, that is not your financial advisor's role or expertise. They are there to invest. They make a commission of you keeping your money with them and not moving. That's their purpose, to help your money grow so they could grow with you. Okay. And your accountant is here to help you identify, excuse me, the tax filing in regards to your day to day. So life changes, things change. Um, be excited. We are getting a new administration. We need to see some of the things that's going to come out. Make sure that you're working with someone that's staying abreast. I've actually signed up for about 5 classes today because I know there's a lot of things that's going to be coming out with this new administration, and want to make sure that we are ready. There's a lot of audits that's happening. I say brace yourself. If you get a letter, do not think something is wrong. Maybe something is wrong, but first, find out what is it that they're looking for. Remember, there's a random pool and there's a flag pool. So you don't know which pool you were selected from. So it doesn't mean something was wrong. Don't own it up. Let's see what it is. Make sure you have the right support. Make sure you're asking questions. Make sure you understand. You don't have to be the accountant, but at least know what's happening with your financial reporting. And just watch out. So again, look for the BOY. Just look and see. Don't wait to the end of the year to see if you get a refund or a tax. Do your projection, and if you want our 2025 calendar, reach out to us, because I showed you the 24. That was a sneak peek. This was our 24, and every year we always put the tax bracket guide in here. This year, this came into missing money, to give you that website. Talking about e-signatures with the IRS, that changed coming into this year. Uh, how to get business loans. We also have our book, and if you're interested in, we have 2 years books. We're doing our third year book, which I'm so excited because it's going to be in English and Spanish. So we have both books to help. So if you're looking for support, even if you didn't want to come to DCP, why not? We just want you to know we'll still give you the information if you want it. So sharing is caring. I love sharing. I want to thank you for joining. If there was any questions that I missed, inbox me and I will put it on the agenda for the next live. Other than that, It's Joyce Saint-Cyr, your account with diverse community partners. And thanks for joining. Thanks for your input. Thank you for your participation. Bye. Like, share, comment the video.